Good morning, dear students. Let's start our lesson today. So, dear students, we continued up to, I think, this page, right? Uh, yes, up to this page. Okay, from here we will start today. Okay, from here we will start today. So, dear students, you can turn it in landscape mode so that you are able to see the text properly, right? So you can, I'm zooming it, but in spite of that, if you have problem in portrait mode, you can turn it in landscape mode and see this text on the screen, right? And if you have a physical book with you, if you have hard copy of the text with you, you can mark it there with pencil. Okay, so let's begin from here. So what we have learned so far, Hari Singh somehow managed to convince Anil to appoint him for a cook, right? So Anil, being a very easygoing and simple person, he could easily comply with the request made by Hari Singh. Hari Singh is basically a very experienced and confirmed thief. He has cheated many people in the past, and now Anil is his latest victim. So let's find out whether eventually he really cheats Anil, or he becomes a transformed personality and does not go on to cheat Anil. So let's find out, dear students. So one more thing before I continue, like yesterday it was said that Hari Singh used to go to market for buying provisions, and in the process of buying provisions, vegetables, etc., he could make a profit of some money, right? So this is how he could save some money, and Anil of course did knew about this fact, but in spite of that, he kept quiet, because he is a very simple person, and might be he was not in a mindset to sort of hurt Hari Singh. That is why, in spite of Hari Singh making every day a profit of rupee 1, in spite of that, Anil kept quiet, did not say anything, any word about it, right? So now let's continue from here. Anil made money by fits and starts. So dear students, what does fits and starts means? Fits and starts means irregularly. Okay, Anil made money irregularly. Fits and starts means irregularly. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next. Anil was a writer, of course, but he is not a very professional writer, so his earning was not very regular. That is why it is said that Anil made money by fits and starts. Fits and starts means irregularly. He would borrow 1 week, lend the next, right? So 1 week he would borrow money from someone, and another week he will lend the next. It means that his earning was very irregular. Sometimes it was more, sometimes it was less. He kept worrying about his next check, but as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. So he used to wait for the check to arrive, check in his name to come, and as soon as it came, he would go and celebrate. It seems that he was not very much economical. He was a kind of a lavish person. Sorry. It seems he wrote for magazines. Okay, he wrote for magazines, it seems. A queer way to make a living. The writer says that it seems he wrote for magazines, a queer way to make a living. Queer means a strange way to make a living. One evening, he came home with a small bundle of notes saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. One evening, what happened? He came home with a small bundle of notes saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night, I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. Right. So Hari Singh is the narrator, as I told you, of the story. So he is narrating us the incidents and also what happened with normally happened with Anil. So let's let's know something more about Anil. So Hari Singh says one day Anil came from somewhere, and then he declared that he got some money. Okay, what was the reason? He said that he had sold a book to a publisher. So as he sold a book to a publisher, he got some money. But unfortunately, Anil tucked the money in front of Hari Singh under the mattress. Hari Singh, being a thief, he will definitely got inspired to steal. Okay, so let's find out what happens afterwards. I had been working for Anil for almost a month, and apart from cheating on the shopping, had not done anything in my line of work. Okay, see, he is now accepting that he is a thief. He said apart from cheating on the shopping, he had not done anything what he was supposed to do as a thief, as a confirmed or professional thief. I had every opportunity for doing so. Now that he could see Anil tuck a lot of money under the mattress, okay, tuck a small bundle of notes under the mattress, he could easily take advantage of the situation and he can now cheat. Okay, I had opportunity, he said. What kind of opportunity he mentions here? He mentions that now that he has seen Anil tuck away a small bundle of notes under the mattress, he can easily steal it. That is why he said, I had every opportunity for doing so. Anil had given me a key to the door and I could come and go as I pleased. Anil had given him a key to the door. Okay, so key is also available. Key of that room is also available with Hari Singh. That is why he could easily come and go as he pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. See, about Anil, Hari Singh is giving a very honest opinion. Okay, Hari Singh says that Anil was the most trusting person that he had ever met. Right. So he was a very simple and honest person, and moreover, he could also believe somebody very quickly. So that is why might be Hari Singh is saying he was the most trusting person I had ever met. Okay, and that is why it was so difficult to rob him. Okay, Anil says that that is why it's very difficult to rob him. Why is very difficult to rob him? Rob Anil. Hari Singh says that it is very difficult to rob Anil. What is the reason? The reason is that he was such a trustworthy person. He was the most trusting person I had ever met, and Anil trusted Anil trusted Hari Singh also very much. Therefore, if someone trusts you, it's very difficult to rob them, because somewhere you feel he would get hurt if I trust him, right? So as Anil placed his trust on Hari Singh so very much, that is why Hari Singh thinks it is very difficult to rob such a person. Okay, it is easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it is difficult to rob a careless man. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he has been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the work. Okay, so now Hari Singh gives his opinion about what kind of people it's easy to rob and what kind of people it's difficult to rob. Okay, so Hari Singh says it's easy to rob a greedy man because what is the reason he is giving? He says because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult to rob a careless man. Why is difficult to rob a careless man? Because sometimes he doesn't even notice that he has been robbed. Sometimes he doesn't even notice that he has been robbed, and that takes all the pleasure out of the world. So if you rob someone and he doesn't know, if you rob someone and he doesn't know that he had been robbed, then it's very difficult. Then what is the pleasure in robbing him? There is no pleasure, because he doesn't know that he has been robbed. So that therefore Anil belongs to the second category. Anil is a very careless person. Okay, he doesn't even notice that he has been robbed. So therefore, it's very difficult to rob a careless person. Whereas it's very easy to rob a greedy man, because he can afford to be robbed. Right. Now next, well, it is time I did some real work. He says, it is time I did some real work. So what kind of real work does Hari mean to say here? What kind of real work does Hari mean to say here? Can you guess what kind of real work does Hari Singh mean to say? The Hari Singh means to say that now the time has come. Now the time has come to rob Anil, because I have got a rare opportunity to rob him. I have seen him tuck a small bundle of notes under the mattress, and this is the golden opportunity for me to rob him, okay, and resort to my old practice of thievery or stealing, right? So that is why he says, it's time I did some real work. I told myself, I'm out of practice, and if I don't take the money, he will only waste it on his friends. What kind of reason does Hari Singh put forward in favor of robbing Anil? He says that I am out of practice. Practice means here I am out of stealing practice, and if I do not take the money away from Anil at this moment, then he will again carelessly waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me, and moreover, he doesn't pay me. That is why I've decided that I do some kind of real work this time. What kind of reason, what kind of logic does it put forward? He says that, Hari Singh says that he has been out of stealing practice for quite some time now, and if he did not take the money, then Anil would only waste it on his friends. Moreover, Anil does not pay him any kind of money. That is why Hari Singh decided to rob Anil at this time, right? So please do remember these value points. If you have pencil with you, if you have a hard copy of the book with you and the pencil with you, you can underline these sentences, or you can bracket these sentences, because these sentences are important, and often questions come from these sentences, right? So that is why it's better you bracket with pencil if you have the hard copy with you. If you do not have, then I'll forward you this particular soft copy so that you can do it later on, right? Next, you see, Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Okay, see, I crept up to the bed means he was going stealthily up to the bed, okay, where Anil has kept a small bundle of notes. So what kind of a plan did Hari Singh is making? Hari Singh is making a plan to rob Anil, okay, and after he robs Anil, he would catch the 10:30 express train to Lucknow. Okay, he would catch the 10:30 express train to Lucknow and would go to leave for Lucknow. Okay, that is why he slipped out of his blanket, crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping very peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine were mostly scars. Okay, my hand slid under the mattress, searching for the notes. So he has already put his hand under the mattress. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Whenever he got money, he drew a small bundle of notes without a sound. Drew means he took it away. Anil sighed in his sleep and turned on his side towards me. I was startled and quickly crawled out of the room. Okay, so Anil was sleeping on that bed and he was just sighing in his sleep and turned on his side towards Hari Singh, and then Hari Singh, out of fear, just crawled out of the room. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had the notes at my waist, held there by the string of my pajamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes. 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an well-rich Arab for a week or two. 600 rupees in 50s means 3000 rupees, right? Or 30,000 rupees, sorry. It's not 3000, isn't it? So, he said, when I was on the road, I began to run. He said when he was when he just went to the, sorry, just a minute, here, okay, when he came onto the road after robbing Anil, what happened? He began to run and his notes were at his waist. He kept it somewhere tucked into his into the pocket of his waist, I think, by the pocket of his pajamas. Pajama means like trousers. Okay, so yes, pajamas, and then he slowed down to walk and then counted the notes. 600 rupees in 50s, that is, when he counted the money, he was so surprised that he said it is a sum of 30,000 rupees and he could live like a well-rich Arab for a week or two with this money. It's a huge money for Hari Singh. So he became very, very happy when he thought that he could reach like a king, Arab king, for a week or two. Okay, see the way he is taking the money out of the mattress, okay, inside the mattress. When I reached the station, I did not stop at the ticket office. I had never bought a ticket in my life. So see his habit, he never bought a ticket in his life whenever he traveled by train, but dashed straight to the platform. Okay, he dashed straight to the platform. The Lucknow Express was just moving out. It was just moving out of the platform. The train had still to pick up speed and I should have been able to jump into one of the carriages, but I hesitated for some reason I can't explain and I lost the chance to get away. So when he was about to get into the train, something held him back. Something really made him think once, and this is how he lost the opportunity to catch the train 10:30 express for Lucknow. He has missed the train because something inside him held him back. He could not just get into the train, even though he could easily get into the train. It was going very slow, but in spite of that, he could not get into the train. When the train had gone, I found myself standing alone on the deserted platform. Deserted means empty platform. He was the only one who was standing on the deserted platform. I had no idea where to spend the night. I had no friends, believing that friends were more trouble than help. He did not have any friend because he thought that friends were more trouble than help. And I did not want to make anyone curious by staying at one of the small hotels near the station. And he said, I did not want to stay back in a hotel near the platform because otherwise people will suspect me. People might have some suspicion in their mind to see me not board the train and take a hotel at such an odd hour at night. The only person I knew really was the man I had robbed. Okay, at that place only person that he knew was Anil. Leaving the station, I walked slowly through the bazaar. So he left the station and walked slowly towards the bazaar. In my short career as a thief, I had made a study of men's faces when they had lost their goods. The greedy man showed fear. See, this is very important. You please go through these sentences. He had studied, he had made a study of the man's faces when they lose something, which Hari Singh describes here. He says, I had made a study of man's face. He says, the greedy man showed fear, the rich man showed anger, the poor man showed acceptance, but I knew that Anil's face when he discovered the theft would show only a touch of sadness, not for the loss of money but for the loss of trust. Okay, so he was thinking of Anil. Something somewhere hidden in the mind of Hari Singh is a good person. Something somewhere is hidden a good person in him. That is why he is thinking of his benefactor, his master Anil. Okay, so he thought that it is very difficult. Like Anil would not show. Anil would also experience. Also have some reaction, but that reaction is not of any sadness for losing money, but for losing the trust, for the loss of trust, not for the loss of money. Anil would also react, but he would react for the loss of trust, not out of loss of money, right? So he started feeling sympathetic towards Anil. As you can see, he is giving a real thought over Anil. So might be somewhere inside Hari Singh there is a good person hidden. Okay, I found myself in the Maidan. Maidan means a field, and sat down on a bench. The night was chilly. It was early November, and a light drizzle. Drizzle means light shower of rain added to my discomfort. Okay, drizzle came and it added to his discomfort. Soon it was raining quite heavily. My shirt and pajamas stuck to my skin, and a cold wind blew the rain across my face. So the weather has become very inclement, and it was raining, and it was late at night. So everything put together has made him feel really very much uncomfortable. Okay, next. I went back to the bazaar and sat down in the shelter of the clock tower. Okay, so he went back to the bazaar, and then in the shelter of the clock tower he sat down. The clock showed midnight. I felt for the notes. They were damp from the rain. They had become all damp. Anil's money. In the morning he would probably have given me 2 or 3 rupees to go to the cinema, but now I had it all. I couldn't cook his meals, run to the bazaar, or learn to write whole sentences anymore. So he is saying if I don't go back to Anil, in that case I could not cook his meals, I could not run to the bazaar or learn to write whole sentences anymore. This is what is his daily routine at Anil's residence. So this is what he will be missing out if he does not return to Anil. So this sort of things keep coming in his mind. I had forgotten about them in the excitement of the theft. Whole sentences I knew could one day bring me more than a few hundred rupees. It was a simple matter to steal, and sometimes just as simple to be caught. But to be a really big man, a clever and respected man, was something else. I should go back to Anil, I told myself, if only to learn to read and write. So his good conscience is forcing him to return to Anil. He is thinking that if I learn to read and write, then I can earn much more money. Okay, so I don't want to break the trust of Anil. I would love to continue learning reading and writing, so that I can earn a lot of money in future. I hurried back to the room feeling very nervous, for it is much easier to steal something than to return it undetected. He says that it's very easy to steal something, but when it comes to returning, most of the time people get caught. So therefore he says it's very easy to steal, but it's very difficult to return without being caught, right? Undetected means without being caught. I opened the door quietly, then stood in the doorway in clouded moonlight. Anil was still asleep. I crept to the head of the bed and my hand came up with the notes. My hand came up with the notes. You can see here. I felt his breath on my hand. I remained still for a minute. Then my hand found the edge of the mattress and slipped under it with the notes. And still at that time, Anil was sleeping on the same bed. So very carefully he tucked the money inside the mattress once again. I awake late next morning to find that Anil had already made the tea. He stretched out his hand towards me. There was a 50 rupee note between his fingers. My heart sank. I thought I had been discovered. I made some money yesterday, he explained. Now you will be paid regularly. Okay. He also made an announcement to Hari Singh saying that I made some money yesterday, so you shall be paid regularly from now onwards. My spirits rose, but when I took the note, I saw it was still wet from the night's rain. It means Anil has already realized that Hari Singh made an attempt to steal. Hari Singh has fiddled with the money. He has taken the money. He has returned it, of course, but Anil has certainly found it out because it was wet. It was wet. It became wet at midnight. Okay, because it was drizzling out there. And when Anil brought the money, it wasn't wet. So somehow Anil would really understand that Hari Singh was, the money was in the possession of Hari Singh, and that is why he did not say anything, of course, but he said he handed over a 50 rupee note to Hari Singh, thinking that Hari Singh would not steal once again if he is given payment regularly. Therefore, he made an announcement to to Hari Singh's utter surprise that you shall be paid from now regularly. Right? So my spirit rose, but when I took the note, I saw it was still wet from the night's rain. Today we'll start writing sentences. Anil said, today we'll start writing sentences. He knew, but neither his lips nor his eyes showed anything. Okay, he knew that Hari Singh had done something with the money. He wanted to steal his money, but he has not said anything to Hari Singh because he did not want to lose Hari Singh, because he wanted to educate Hari Singh so that Hari Singh becomes independent and he can earn much more money. So Anil wanted to reform Hari Singh. That is why he did not say anything. I smiled at Anil in my most appealing way, and the smile came by itself without any effort. And then Hari Singh also gave a return smile. Okay. Hari Singh smiled at Anil in the most appealing way, and the smile came by itself without any effort. Okay. Might be he was smiling to think that Anil was such a good person that he did not react anything. Rather, he remained normal, like a normal person, and was offering to also teaching sentences. Such a good person. So his decision of return to Anil was absolutely good decision, and that is why he was smiling out of surprise that Anil was such a good person. He did not react angrily, and moreover, he has given him 50 rupees and assured him of paying him his regular monthly salary. So this is how the story comes to an end. So there are some questions on my website. You can study them and write on your notebook. You can add some additional value points for each answer if you think the answers requires more modification or some addition. Right? So dear students, that's all I have for you today, and the next day I shall teach you something else. Okay, I shall focus on some grammar exercise the next day, and in the meantime, please update your NCERT textbook. Please do update your NCERT notebook. Update your NCERT notebook, your English notebook rather. Whatever I have taught you, the 2 lessons from supplementary reader so far. So update your notebook by going to my website. Okay, read the question answers, and you write on in your own words on the English notebook. Okay, please remain updated with your English notebook work, right? Thank you all of you. Till we meet again tomorrow at the same time. Bye bye, take care and have a great day.